What's up, everybody? It's Leo Robles here, Mike Ferry, day 2, and here are the takeaways, right? Today, one of the things that Mike started off with was creating a productive schedule. And time management, as we know it, for realtors, for us real estate professionals, time management is one of the toughest things to, I would say, manage because we have the ability to create our own schedule, right? I always say this, it's good news is that we can create our schedule. The bad news is that we can also create our own schedule. So we typically don't make, the decisions that are going to amplify our business. And as a real estate professional, prospecting and making that be part of your schedule is a huge, huge piece. So creating a productive schedule. And these are the tips that they were sharing about, which I think is very, very key. They make their schedule around from 8 to 12. It's all money making activities, right? Because I get this question asked a lot too. Is Leo, when should I prospect? Should I prospect in the morning? Should I prospect midday? Should I practice in the evening? Because more people are home in the evening, right? The thing is that when you wait until the evening, you're in competition, right? With your family, you're in competition with dinner, you're in competition with home, you're in competition with a lot of different things in the evening. So I don't recommend doing anything in the evening as far as prospecting. Midday, either it's lunchtime, people are, kind of shuffling in the midday. I don't think it's a good thing. I really believe, and I agree with what they said, is that everything money activities related, which is that, and this is it. If you get this one thing, and you actually execute this one thing, you can fundamentally shift your life and your business. These times from 8 to 12, you got to guard it. You got to make sure you protect that time. You got to make sure that you focus on money-making activities, right? And you don't got to follow a specific thing, right? It could be I think this, some people like door knocking, right? And if you can get yourself to do door knocking and you can do that before 12, do that, right? There is obviously your sphere, your past clients, expireds for sell by owners, your database. There is just listed, just sold, right, which is neighborhood calls. So whatever it is that you choose, make sure that you do those activities, and you could do a little bit of all of them. That's a really cool thing, right? You got a 4-hour time block, so you could start off and work your morning with the hottest leads, right? Because again, your intention every single day is to set up an appointment. So okay, hot leads first thing right off the bat. Warm yourself up. Call a couple of people in your sphere of influence. Again, because getting yourself on the phone, the hardest part, I think, is making that first conversation. So start off with the hottest leads, the people that are in your sphere, and then move into other activities that might be a little bit colder prospecting activities, because at this point, you've already got warmed up, right? And make sure you incorporate some sort of practice time, right? If you're going to be dialing out your sphere of influence, your database, your for sale by owners, expireds, your neighborhood, whatever it is you're dialing, practice a little bit. Maybe have an accountability partner, right? And if you really want to commit to this, right? I'm saying 4 hours. What if you just did 2 hours, right? If you just did 4 hours, 2 hours, if you just did 2 hours, again, this could fundamentally shift your business, because the consistency over time and your intention to set up an appointment every single day, it's going to make a massive difference. So protect your schedule, and also go ahead and incorporate follow-up. But you're not going to be able to go and do follow-up if you don't lead generate first. That's why a lot of people just don't do the rest of the activities as a realtor, because they're focusing on, oh yeah, my God, I'm going to do follow-up, but who are you going to follow up with? So the first thing you need to do is go out fishing for new customers. Whatever way you choose, right? It could be even social media. Again, if you have a way that you could do that via social media, knock yourself out, but be intentional with setting up appointments. Your objective is to set up appointments. That's the number one thing. And these are people that are doing 200 to 300 transactions a year, right? That were sharing these nuggets. And one of the other things is that you want to also dissect who you're calling based on who you can get an appointment with. Again, right? Appointment. So make sure that who can you get an appointment with? Who can you get under contract within the next week? Those are the people you got to call first. If you have your schedule that way, you can also choose an end time, right? You can if you have a family, you want to make sure you get to your kids, you want to get some off time. If you really follow your schedule and you get there, by 8, you do your prospecting, you're done by 12. Afternoon, you do some follow-up. You set up a time. Let's just say at 1:30 you got a listing appointment. At 3:30 you got another listing appointment. You can end your day by 5 o'clock. And you can make over $1 million just literally doing that, working 5 days a week. There was plenty of examples that shared that. So take a hold of your time. I know it's not an easy thing, but if you're intentional and you collaborate with other people that are on the same path, I think you can get it done. Prospecting, obviously, that's a huge thing. Kind of talked about that. And I want you to, this is something that Mike said that was really cool. Prospecting is just the skill of talking to people. That's it. It's just a skill of talking to people. You have, prospecting is part of every single business, no matter what. No matter what business you want to think about, prospecting is part of it, right? They need new customers to make sales that are going to help their company to grow. So one of the things that he had us basically evaluate is like, what are the things that are in the way of you making calls? And I want to ask you that question. What are the things that are in the way of you answering or picking up the phone and calling people? Like, what are those things, right? Is it you're too busy, or is it this? And one of the speakers actually said this, which is really cool. Make a list of all the things that get in the way of you prospecting. Make an actual list. Okay, this got in the way, washing my car, this. Make a list of all of that, because guess what? Once you have that detailed list, that becomes your job description for your next position, which is awesome. When we're prospecting and we're on the phone, if we average out the commission of $10,000, our worth of us working and prospecting, our hourly rate could be as high as $1,500 an hour. So if you are doing $25, $30, $50 an hour activities, again, you are leaving a lot of opportunities on the table. So make a list of what's in the way of you prospecting. And a lot of the people were talking about their database, right? Their database and how many people they had in the database, and they prospected a lot of their database, and that's where a lot of their business came from. So make it an intentional act when you're prospecting, then you're adding new people to your database. That is the number one thing. The one common theme is that a lot of the people that I heard speaking with their prospecting time, no matter what their style was, they were having at least 30 to 40 new contacts every day. So that should be your goal. Make 30 to 40 contacts, as long as that takes you, and to set up appointments, right? We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Follow the script, right? Have a script, because obviously having a script is going to help you to dialogue better, right? And the thing is that we got to understand that we basically have everything kind of scripted in a way, right? Like it's, the way that we do our hair, right? There's a process. When we brush our teeth in the morning, there's a process, right? The way you dress, it's a process. The way that you do anything, there's a process that you follow. It's a sequence. So incorporate that into your business in real estate, and then understand that the things that you say, you can alter. That way you can get a greater result. The database, talked about that already as well. That was one of the nuggets as well. Segment your database to past clients, to online paid advertisement, and then even agents, because agents are also going to be able to send you referrals, right? Other real estate agents from other states. There's a lot of movement, especially, if you're in California, there are a lot of people are moving out. So make sure that you have relationships and you have them in your database and you stay in touch with them. Again, stay top of mind. The thing is that your objective when you're talking to somebody in your database should always be, how are you bringing value to the conversation? That should be the number one thing that you're doing when you're staying in touch. And they recommend to do at least 4 calls to your database a year. One cool thing that I would suggest is maybe do a video with a weekly market update, or a bi-weekly market update, or a monthly market update. Do a video. You could send it via text. You could send it via email. But just make sure you pick up the phone and at least call them, 4 times a year. The other big nugget was the skill of strong, effective lead follow-up, right? It really is a skill. This was one of the things that I really wrote down, is be more aggressive. You have to be more aggressive with following up. Right, I think we let people off the hook where they say, "Oh, you know what? This, the wife or the husband is not home," and they're like, so just keep moving forward. That's why scripts and dialogue are going to be part of your process, because when somebody says, "Oh, I gotta wait for the wife, to confirm," okay, perfect, sounds good. I know you need to talk to your wife, but you think like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock works for you, right? You keep moving forward. You keep moving forward. You keep moving forward. Be more aggressive, right? Especially if they're going to transact. It's just smoke screens. And be okay with throwing away leads. This is the other thing, right? A lot of times they were saying if you have leads, a lot of the times it's hard for you to let go of them, because then you're going to have to go and prospect more. But that's the thing, is that the most important thing is having a qualified appointment, having somebody that's ready to transact, and that's who you should be investing your time and energy. You don't want to be calling people that don't want to buy and sell. You don't want to spend your time and energy and effort and money into any of that. So want to make sure that you put those to the side, put them somewhere else, put them on an email drip or something. I don't think you should throw them away. Put them on an email drip. Allow that to do the heavy lifting. Leads kind of represent like a false security, right? Like, oh my God, I have 1,000 leads. Well, 1,000 leads it doesn't mean anything. What I heard over and over from multiple speakers was the average person had anywhere from 5 to 12 leads that they were working with, and that's how they were doing hundreds of transactions. So that just goes to show you it's not a lack of leads, it's a lack of quality leads that you're working with, right? You only need like 5 to 10 continuously that you're working with. So get rid of the ones, push them to the side, the ones that are not going to transact. The other thing that is also a big one is like pre-qualifying your prospect, right? That way, when you're going and you're talking to a buyer, you're talking to a seller, making sure that you're asking the key questions, especially with listings. With listing appointments, really asking the very, very precise, intelligent questions. That way, you're prepared, and your closing ratio of signing a listing is going to go through the roof. There was a guy that really didn't believe in that. He was closing about 50% of every listing appointment he went on, and he was not able to break through. He started applying the pre-qualification, started qualifying, asking detailed questions, and his conversion went up to 90%. Huge, right? You just got to push to the side the scarcity of like, oh my God, if I ask so many questions, they might not want to work with me. The really interesting thing is that right now in this market, it's a skills-based market. When you ask the type of questions, the customer is going to feel heard, and you're also going to be able to identify who the people it is that you want to work with. And then the other thing is that a lot of them were sharing that when they're doing the pre-qualification script, some people were just ready to transact right then and there. They're like, hey, can you just send me over the paperwork? Like, you know what? I really like you. I like the questions you're asking. So because of you were asking the right questions, people want to work with you as well. So making sure that you do that pre-qualification. And the other thing is to stay in constant contact with your sellers if you're working with listings, right? And again, you're going to have a relationship with a seller, especially at the shifting market. It could be anywhere from 90 days to 6 months, right? It could be in that. And there's shifting markets already happening around the U.S. I mean, you see that there's price reductions happening. A lot of the things that they kept saying is that, hey, the market's not going to crash. We're definitely have a correction. And I just think that this creates a massive opportunity for us professionals that are building our skills, that we're practicing daily, that we're intentional with our time. I think that we're stepping into one of the most opportunistic times as real estate professionals. So a lot of exciting stuff. I can't wait to share it with you more. Any sort of nuggets or value that you got out of this, I would love to hear your feedback. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.